This is Finn's News Network, where we get facts, not nonsense. So second Super Tuesday with 365 delegates. Coincidentally, same number of days that are in the year. It's just funny connection I just found out a minute ago. 125 delegates in Michigan, which was the biggest prize of the night, followed by Washington with 89, Missouri with 68, Mississippi with 36, Idaho with 20, and North Dakota with 14 delegates. So Michigan, the biggest prize of the night, as most of the night, went to Joe Biden. Now 28 delegates are still to be allocated, but there's only 7% of precincts left to report, and really it's 6 because we never got 100% of precincts reporting in primaries. We do in caucuses, but that's because people actually know where precincts are in caucuses. But Biden with a strong 16.4% lead over Sanders, and then 57 to 40 in the delegate, 28 still to be allocated. It's 93% reporting as of 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern. Washington. So this is the closest race by far. I have no idea who's going to win it, but since Biden's just done well all night, I'm giving it to him. But in a tie in the delegates, 0.2. But here's actually the very funny thing. See how these combined for 64% of the vote? Senator Elizabeth Warren and Mayor Bloomberg somehow have 13 to 11% of the vote. I know what. Washington is one of the few states that allows write-in votes, and it was actually good because Washington's where the biggest coronavirus outbreak is right now. And so somehow I think a lot of people send their votes early. And so if Warren and Bloomberg had stayed in the race, they could have actually been contenders to win this, just with how much of the vote share they had. Maybe people just didn't like them dropping out and voted for them anyway. But it's only 69% of precincts reporting. Any Biden or Bernie could win. It's going to be very close throughout the night. Missouri with 68 delegates. This was a clear win for Biden. He's up 35-18. The delegates, 15 still to be allocated. 60.1% of the vote, 34.5% of the vote for Bernie. 95% of precincts reporting as of 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern on March 11th. Mississippi. This is maybe the craziest thing ever. There are only 89% of precincts reporting. Joe Biden has a whopping 81% of the vote. That's right, 81. I'm speechless. Look at this. Bernie is not even above the viability threshold. I thought after Warren and Bloomberg dropped out, Biden and Bernie would have to be above the viability threshold in every state, except maybe Delaware, which I'm thinking Biden could take like 90% of the vote there. But everywhere else, everybody's going to be viable. These two are going to be the only candidates viable, except maybe Hawaii for Tulsi Gabbard and New York for Mayor Bloomberg, because I think he'll get a ton of write-in votes there. Just a guess. 9 still to be allocated. I'm not sure. I think Bernie might cross the viability threshold. It's very hard to determine right now. With 89% of precincts reporting as of 10 a.m. Eastern, Biden 81% to Bernie's 15. Idaho with 20 delegates. 49% of the vote to Biden, 42.5% of the vote to Bernie, with 2 delegates still to be allocated. So, in theory, 98% of precincts. If all the precincts left him Major Bernie, he could snap those final 2 delegates. I think it's going to be something more like 11-9, 12-8. In fact, those are the only 3 scenarios. 10-10, 11-9, or 12-8 with Biden leading in all scenarios. North Dakota. This one is just flat out sorry. This was actually, I thought Bernie had a better chance of winning Michigan than he had of winning North Dakota, because Bernie just dominated the polls last year. He actually did terrible in polls, but this is a caucus, so that we do have 100% of precincts reporting, but I don't know why there are 4 delegates still to be allocated. That's weird, considering there are like a ton still to be allocated in California, and that was a week ago. But 5 delegates for each. Bernie's obviously probably going to get those final 4 delegates, with 54% of the vote over Biden's 4. So here's the latest delegate count. Biden 787 to Bernie 647. Now here are some big delegate prizes that could still shift the race. Next week, we've got Florida and Arizona, which are both 100 delegate plus states. Then the other day to look at is April 28th. That's where we've got my home state of Connecticut, plus Delaware, which is going to be a Biden. Then here's the big prize. New York has 274 delegates on that day, and that's what I think could shift the race around a bit. That's mainly how Clinton clinched it, with Warren at 44, Buttigieg at 26, Lambert at 24, Klobuchar at 17, Gabbard at 2. Gabbard, I don't think will even move up this leaderboard, except maybe if she has a crazy finish in Hawaii. I'm projecting she'll get like 15% of the vote there. I'm not really sure. This has been another presentation of Finn's News Network, where we give facts, not nonsense.